Centaur, your kind of company.
Tonight on Ctv3 News, BSAFA membership engages in day 7 of protest. No agreement is reached with BSI ASR. While a proposal is presented, a counter-proposal is recommended. Prime Minister John Bresenio cuts his trip to the Vatican and returns to the country due to sugar impasse. BSI ASR says port costs is nothing new for all associations. And San Estevana involved in traffic accident on December 29th perishes. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024.
How to win $1,000 cash per branch.
Install or update to Express Plus streaming app. Also win another $1,000 cash per branch. Update your account balance up to December. Update your personal information to get your e-ticket. Drawing date January 5th, 2024 on the Despierta Belice Morning Show. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from Centaur's family.
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. The membership of the BSAFA stood their ground today as they entered day 7 of protest. We will tell you what transpired during the day in a few, but first we relay that around 2 p.m., Minister of Agriculture Jose Mai headed back to Orange Walk to meet with Prime Minister John Bresenio, who cut his trip to the Vatican short due to the current impasse. The team met at the Yo Creek Agriculture Station while farmers waited at the Surrey compound for word. Shortly after 5 p.m., former CEO and agriculture expert Hugh O'Brien addressed members of the BSAFA with the latest proposal formalized by government and accepted by the millers. The proposal, as outlined by O'Brien, includes a one-year agreement which would be recurrent for 3 years. as a point of contention continues to be the addition of throughput and terminal handlings charged for the port. The agreement would also include a clause to stipulate that for the first 3 months, a thorough investigation will be carried out to determine the validity of the costs before they are imposed on the BSA fee.
The presentation was that we signed an agreement for 1 year with a clause that says 3 months will be given to me. I would voluntarily go in, I wouldn't be paid for it, and dig into the numbers and try to present based on the numbers to your association committee of management if the numbers make sense and if there is a reduction as BSI is claiming. And if there is a reduction and numbers make sense, then you guys may agree to include it and then we could go forward and so forth. 3 months before the agreement, 1 year would expire. If no agreement is reached, that 3 months time frame will be put in place for negotiation. Then there will be an automatic renewal for a second year. And the same would apply if 3 months before the second year comes to an end, an automatic renewal if there is no agreement for 1 more year. That was the proposal on the table. ASR accepted. ASR accepted. I understand that you guys rejected today. As the mediator, I'm not taking anybody's side here, okay? As the mediator, if you are willing to consider your position, I would be the one tasked to prepare it. I won't be the BSI lawyers. I would be the one to prepare the wording for the agreement and send it to both parties so that we can try to move forward. If you reject it, we would be in a stalemate once again.
After considering the proposal on the table, however, the BSCFA outrightly rejected it and presented a counter proposal.
Willing to consider the period of 2 years, provided it is with the guaranteeing of the signing of the letter of the payment of the premium for 2 years without conditions. Without the cost, without the throughput and the terminal handling. Please report to Minister, and if we don't get a response by 1 hour.
Yes,
As we told you earlier, Prime Minister John Briceño returned to the country around midday today to deal with the ongoing crisis within the sugar industry. His return came after canceling his visit to meet the Pope at the Vatican. Reporters met the Prime Minister at the airport. Here is what he had to say.
Sir, the reason for the cancellation of your trip, why you decided to come back to deal with the cane farmers?
I think it's a very important issue. I must say that I'm disappointed that it was not resolved. On Friday night, I thought that we had an agreement. And it was Saturday when I was already leaving on the plane that I found out that there were some other issues came up. The team, Minister Maya and his team, they worked through the weekend and they still could not find a compromise. So I felt that it was more important. I'd love to meet the Pope. It's a wonderful opportunity. It's a man that I admire greatly. But this is more important at this moment, and that's why I'm here. And I think I have a proposal. I hope that thanks very much.
So what do you
Tonight, after several days of intense negotiations mediated by the government of Belize, there is still no agreement reached between the Belize Cane Farmer Association and the BSI ASR over a commercial agreement. As the days go by, tensions are running high within the industry, which today resulted in the blockage of the Philip Golson Highway for the second consecutive day. As we show you the events of today's protest actions by the BSCFA, negotiations, we understand, continue with Prime Minister John Briceño as the helm.
Today marked Day 7 of protest action by members of the Belize Cane Farmers Association. Among those 7 days are marked 2 days of intensified activities by farmers who are demanding that an agreement is reached, allowing them to deliver their cane to the mill. And to make their voices heard, the men and women of the BSCFA blocked the Philip Golson Highway yesterday for about 3 hours and today for approximately 1 hour. Even before discussions could get underway with Prime Minister John Briceño, who returned to the country this afternoon after canceling his trip to the Vatican, Minister of Agriculture Jose Mai was at the Serde compound in the village of Buena Vista, where farmers were anxiously awaiting for the stroke of midday, which was the deadline set on Tuesday for a response from the PM based on discussions with BSI-ASR. As midday came and went, farmers became uneasy, and by 1 o'clock, the membership of the BSCFA mobilized to once more block the highway, demanding answers from the government and the millers.
They should be coming with a message from 12. They haven't come out to deliver the message to with the farmers. That is disrespectful.
Is the association planning to block other parts of the highway or other highways?
Well, up to now, I cannot tell you about that because that's not my decision. That's the farmer's decision that they're going to take.
While police were quick to respond to the blockade, requesting that farmers allow negotiations to flow, it was not an easy ask, as farmers reached a point of frustration as they demand that an agreement is reached.
All we ask, give them some more time. More? Give them some more time.
All right, New Year's, Christmas Eve. One more time they want. 3 years ago, we did a Tower Hill. And then we don't come with the same bullshit again. No, man, we got patience.
We are working with the cane farmers. We are working with you guys. If you notice, we are more tolerant than anything. Back then, we would have used brute force. We are working with you. You have our support. But we ask, allow the negotiation to continue. Give us a few more minutes.
We are the government. We are the government.
All right. The negotiating team are in negotiation right now.
This is my business. This, I am a third generation king farmer. Understand? These are my bread, these are my butter. I don't have a salary like you or other people. Ministers. I work for this.
Police and everything.
Land broke me back, see me foot. How much cuts I got? See me hand?
Yeah.
Huh? Who don't understand that? No, man. You know how much people suffer right here?
We wish the negotiation
no, man.
we wish
when? You can do it now. Now it's now. Yes, we promise, right?
Yeah.
We promise we will give you yesterday until 12 o'clock. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? 12 o'clock, right?
We agree to 12.
All right. What time right now?
Let me explain.
What time right now? When the goalpost is away first, so what we have to do? We want to kick the goalpost right over there.
The Minister has cancelled his trip and he's now in the country. He's heading here. He has cancelled his trip to join the negotiating team. And we are about to reach an agreement.
As members of the police department worked to clear the highway, Minister of Agriculture Honorable Jose Mai exited the Serde office where he was meeting with other stakeholders. As he told reporters, he was on the way to Orange Walk to meet with Prime Minister John Briceño.
The Prime Minister is going to meet us on the walk. We are going to brief him. He has to find a pass right now.
But do you believe he'll be able to bring this to an end?
He has to, sir. We have to find an end to this.
How will he do that, sir? Because it seemed that the mill seems hell-bent.
Somebody has to bend. Something has to give in. The farmers are tired. The farmers are frustrated. They want to deliver the cane. We must come to a result. So we are going to meet the Prime Minister right now and tell him that this is a serious matter that needs to be addressed now.
Is the BSCFA willing to bend?
The BSCFA has done a lot. They have bent. They have bent, and they've given up a lot. The farmers want the same agreement to rule over as last year. The same agreement that they are offering the farmers individually, and that is our position to the Prime Minister.
So there's no moving the goalposts on your behalf?
No, the farmers have maintained, the farmers have bent back way. The farmers have bent back way. And so the Northern Caucus knows the situation, they agree with the farmers, and they definitely, we are moving to convince the Prime Minister and ASR that all the farmers want is a rollover of last year's agreement, which is what they're offering the farmers individually, which is, the farmers are definitely right. You cannot do this to the farmers anymore.
As Minister Mai attempted to leave the installations, however, that is when things took a turn as cane farmers became agitated as they attempted to stop the minister's vehicle from leaving the area.
The farmers are trying to solidarity. Moments ago, the minister was inside the security building. Prime Minister Mai said that he's going to meet with the Prime Minister in Orange Walk. But like I said, they are trying to keep him from leaving here. We see the police there. We see two women that are trying to keep
With much intervention and some force by members of the police department, Minister Mai was able to leave. However, farmers remained in the area, standing strong and demanding a prompt resolution. Reporting for Ctv3 News, Norma Ruiz.
As BSCFA continues with protest action which has resulted on blockade of the Philip Golson Highway for 2 consecutive days, today the 3 smaller associations are threatening legal action against their sister association as their trucks are being stopped from delivering cane to the mill. A release issued jointly by the Progressive Sugarcane Producers Association, the Corozal Sugarcane Producers Association, and the Northern Sugarcane Growers Association adds, and we quote, "We wish to advise that the 3 stakeholder associations have each valid commercial agreement which allow our registered farmers the right to deliver their sugarcane product without any hindrances. Our farmers should have the opportunity to enjoy such rights within the agreement. The BSCFA has absolutely no jurisdiction to preventing or impeding the rights of our farmers under the commercial agreement," end quote. The release continues, "Since the start of the crop on the 28th of December, we, the 3 stakeholder associations, have been delivering our produce to the mill unimpeded. Noting also that a great number of sugarcane farmers registered with the BSCFA continue with high interest to deliver their sugarcane, but who are unable to do so due to the threatening atmosphere imposed by the BSCFA," end quote. In ending, the associations call on the BSCFA to undertake good judgment in their actions, which directly affect the livelihood of almost 40,000 Belizeans. While the membership and the leaders of the BSCFA were holding the fort at Surrey, the other party involved in this sugar dispute, BSI-ASR, called a press conference to present their side of the coin. As mentioned, a sticking point in the negotiations, that is, for the past 7 days, has been port charges, namely throughput and terminal charges, which the BSCFA says was not included in the interim commercial agreement signed last year. For background, in 2019, following the dredging of the port at Big Creek, BSI conducted a trial to ship raw sugar via that port. According to BSI-ASR, the results of the trial were shared with all association leaders. BSI determined that transitioning its raw sugar and molasses logistics operations to Big Creek would be beneficial to the industry, and it decided to invest in new logistics that would result in significantly lower ocean freight and port charges for BSI and farmers. BSI held a meeting in early 2021 with all cane farmer associations, including the BSCFA, to inform them of the decision and to demonstrate the cost savings from reduced ocean freight and port charges. BSI also disclosed it signed a 30-year release with the Port of Big Creek, and that port charges, which would be lower than what was paid to Port of Belize Limited, would also be locked in for the
So we went through a process in 2021 with the associations to explain the cost benefit. And I think certainly from our standpoint, the general sentiment was that this was a good initiative, this was a good project that was supported, because at the end of the day, it would reduce the cost of logistics. It would address a significant bottleneck that existed for the industry, and so it was a win-win for everyone. We would load ships faster, we would have cost savings, and everyone would benefit from it. So from our standpoint, the matter of the port charges was ventilated from 2021 and explained to all the stakeholders. And so we do find it a bit surprising that it has surfaced as a key sticking point, because at the end of the day, the transition to Big Creek and the throughput fees that we are paying is much lower than what we were paying in Belize City.
With that throughput charges that you discussed at the outset, I think one of the arguments is that the open agreement does not include the throughput charges, and that the last year's one-year commercial agreement, it is being said, did not include the throughput charges, that the throughput charges are a new feature, unjustly, they claim, being added this year.
We had signed back in 2021 the same commercial agreement that we're proposing with the BSCFA, which included the clarification of the terminology for throughput fee and the terminal handling charge. Port charges have always been a core part of the commercial agreement and as a shared cost. So that was not something new. What, in our view, would have allowed this to go through very easily is because we were able to demonstrate that we were saving significantly by moving the operations to Big Creek. So it was a win-win for everyone. So that agreement was signed with the three associations, but the media may recall that the BSAFA did not want to sign the existing commercial agreement. They wanted a new agreement that moved to gross value, 60/40. And so we had the blockade of 2021 where, we were forced to sign an interim agreement that we've done in the past. But clearly we did that on the understanding that the investment to Big Creek had been done. We would see the savings from that. And certainly when we put out the cane price prop, it reflected those terminologies. So we did nothing under the cover of darkness. It was fully open and transparent. And so from our standpoint, farmers have been getting the benefit of the transition to Big Creek. And so these port fees, which are still lower than what we were paying, it's only right that they continue to be shared. From our standpoint, we view it that the previous agreement includes these port charges, which the throughput fee features in it. So from our perspective, they are part of it.
Is it a lack of communication? Is the sin of BSI not putting it clearly? I understand what you're saying. You guys were in a hurry, you had to sign a commercial agreement, and probably the clause was not clear enough placed in there talking about throughput and terminal handling, because those two costs are the point of contention. BSCF is saying, you are telling us we are rolling over the commercial agreement from last year, but in that agreement, from what we are seeing, there is no throughput cost nor terminal handling. So is it that it was just not clear enough in the previous commercial agreement?
Perhaps indeed that might be the point of contention, that it wasn't very clear in the commercial agreement. Although we had done all the presentations and shared all the information, and certainly in the cane price estimates that we were providing the associations, that it was stipulated there, that explicitness was something that perhaps in the rush to sign an agreement was not made absolutely clear. But certainly going forward, that's what we want to seek to ensure, that it's clear to all the parties what not.
So the BSCFA is saying those charges were not included in the past agreement, and BSI-ASR is saying the association is being disingenuous since they were informed on what would be the transition to Big Creek and what would be the cost reflected in a different manner. And to gain some sort of support, today representatives of BSI-ASR met with the members of the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, NTUCB, who has already indicated that they are siding with the BSCFA.
We gave them a presentation, the same one that we gave Cabinet in March of last year, we sought to clarify a number of the points that we know the BSCFA has brought to the forefront. So it covered the commercial agreement, how it works, how farmers are paid, how it compares to other formulas across the world, to highlight the port charges, the investment, the transparency, the process we went through with the BSCFA and the other associations prior to making the investment. We explained about value added, the investments made, the benefit that have been accruing to the farmers, the manufacturing allowance. We explained to them the fair trade process, who pays the premium, what's BSI role in the process, what's the farmer roles, and what's the trader roles. So we covered a number of points which I think enlighten the members of the NTUCB. We have committed with them to keep this communication line ongoing, perhaps do a follow-up presentation with the wider General Council, so that they also hear from, not just one side, but the millers. I understand they will meet with the other associations to understand their process, which we think is good, because we do believe that these other associations are forgotten. They represent 2,000 farmers, and they have certain rights. And I think it's good that the NTUCB will also give them an opportunity to hear from them.
While the Northern Caucus has declared its support to Cañeros, today we asked the mayor of Corozal, Tong Rigo Vellos, for his thoughts on the ongoing situation.
I know sometimes to send a message you have to reach to a certain extent. And this is where I believe that we need to get together as one country. The government and the people, the cane farmers, need to come together and work out for a better solution. Like I said at the beginning, I know sometimes you have to go to a certain extent, but at the same time, let us sit together as one country and discuss this. A lot of times it's hard to do, but we must find a way to do it. That's the only way we can move forward, by getting together and discuss it and come to a solution where both ends will be happy. No? I don't think we need to reach further than what we reached yesterday. I know that the government is willing to negotiate. I know that their best interest is to ensure that the cane farmers gain whatever they need to gain out of this, right? And that's what this government represents, actually. It's the people, betterment for the people. So I know that they're willing to get around a table and discuss it with them and find an amicable solution. So that's my only thing I can say about it, that we must get together as a country. It's for the best interests of our own people. The sugar industry is one of our biggest industry in our country, and we can't allow for this to just fall apart. It is our duty to ensure, as government and as a citizen, to come together and work out for a better solution.
Would you say it was irresponsible of those who were blocking traffic along the highway when they did not permit an ambulance to go through?
When it comes to that, I believe that we all need to be human, and we all need to have that human side and be respectable. I mean, you never know. Well, of course, it's an emergency. That's why it's the ambulance, right? But you never know when you can fall on those same shoes, right? And I do believe that it's very unfortunate to have people stopping traffic or stopping an ambulance. Whoever is in that ambulance have actually no fault on what is happening, right? So we need to be responsible and respectful. Like I said, the only solution to this is coming together as one community, one country, and try find ways to solve the issue, right? And this government is willing, and I am sure that the cane farmers can find a way to also meet the government halfway and get a solution to this.
The Belize National Teachers Union, as part of the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, today registered their support to farmers of the BSCFA. The release adds, and we quote, "It has been far too long that the cries of our cañeros are seemingly being ignored. We therefore wish to call on the government of Belize to engage meaningfully to assist in this process so as to ensure that the interests of our people are adequately considered and addressed. The BNTU stands ready to lend whatever technical support is necessary to expeditiously resolve this matter at the negotiations table, end quote. We note that members of the BNTU, including Interim President Jorge Mejia and Orange Walk Branch President Otilio Munoz, have showed their support by standing with cane farmers since Tuesday at Surdy Grounds in the community of Buena Vista. A woman from the village of San Esteban in Orange Walk is tonight dead after she was involved in a traffic accident on Friday, December 29, 2023. The incident occurred at around 4:54 p.m. on the San Esteban Road. Upon their arrival at the scene, police observed a black F-150 on the left side of the road in some bushes facing a south direction. About 10 feet away from the vehicle, police observed 30-year-old Joanne Marilyn Castillo laying on the bushes, complaining of pain due to the injuries sustained. Initial investigation revealed that Castillo was traveling from Orange Walk to San Esteban when suddenly she lost control of the vehicle due to loose gravel. To avoid collision, she applied brakes and swerved to the left. When she attempted to swing back into the right lane to get back on the road, the vehicle flipped and ended on the left side of the road. Castillo sustained injuries to the right side of the head, a cut wound to the center of the abdomen, a cut wound to the right foot, and one to the left side of the ear. Castillo was transported to the NRH and then transferred to the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital for a CAT scan due to massive head trauma, but lamentable, she succumbed to her injuries this morning. Castillo was employed as an accountant at the Progressive Sugarcane Producers Association. Today, the association closed its doors as they mourn the loss of a dear friend and colleague, says a release from the PSCPA. Joanne, affectionately known as Marilyn or Mar, played a very crucial role in our work environment. She was an overachiever, hard worker, kind, and feisty spirit. We shared many laughs and long working hours. She will be tremendously missed by the PSCPA family, says the release. Coming up next, proposed $9 million loan investment in Belize premium spirits and liquors is halted by SSB. Stay tuned.
Are you out of cash and need some extra money quick? Then worry no more. At Monica's Quick Cash, you can pawn your vehicle for fast money and still drive away freely. We're also the best place to pawn your TVs or gold jewelry and sell your scrap gold. Monica's Quick Cash. Number 128, Cemetery Road, Belize City. Number 14, Constitution Drive, Belmopan, across from the Belize Bank. And number 2, Belize Corozal Road, Orange Walk Town. Pawn and drive, cash for gold. Fast money with Monica's Quick Cash. Give us a call today at telephone 207-0970.
¿Cómo ganar $1,000 en efectivo por sucursal? Instale o actualice la aplicación de transmisión Express Plus. ¿Cómo ganar otros $1,000 en efectivo por sucursal? Actualice el saldo de su cuenta a diciembre. Actualice sus datos personales para obtener su boleto electrónico. El sorteo será el 5 de enero del 2024 en el programa Despierta Belice. La gerencia y personal de Centar le desea a clientes y amigos una feliz Navidad y un próspero año nuevo.
proposed $9 million loan investment in Belize Premium Spirits and Liquors BPSL for the construction of a new distillery, the purchase of equipment, and working capital has been halted. We understand that SSB Chief Executive Officer Deborah Weiss has confirmed that the loan proposal is closed because they were unable to move forward. Other reports say that Principal Walter Cuello himself withdrew his application. The loan attracted strong objections after it was first proposed in November from the opposition United Democratic Party UDP and the Public Service Union PSU, both over the parameters of the board's investment committee. Within the industry, Cuello's Distillery Limited as well as Travelers Liquors Limited objected on grounds of competition. The Belize Bank Limited is applying for judicial review of Practice Direction Number 7 of 2023, intended by the Central Bank of Belize as the financial regulator to restrict fees and charges in the domestic banking sector and prescribe any attendant penalties should those to whom it applies fail to comply with its terms. On Tuesday, before High Court Justice Nadine Nabi, Senior Counsel Godfrey Smith and Attorney Hector Guerra asked for and received an interim injunction barring the central bank from enforcing the regulation until the full application is heard on February 12th. The central bank is represented by Attorney Yoshana Cave. A practice direction from the central bank carries the force of law to commercial banks and financial institutions. In announcing the move in December at a press briefing, Governor of the Central Bank, Kareem Michael, explained, with effect the 2nd of January 2024, all banks must reduce or limit ATM withdrawal fees to a maximum of 25 cents per transaction. For context, here are his comments.
All banks must reduce or limit ATM withdrawal fees to a maximum of 25 cents per transaction. The banks have also committed to reviewing these fees over the next 12 months. This is sort of a transition period with the aim of reducing them further or applying thresholds based on the level of activity and type of customers in the system. I'll be as transparent as I possibly can. The end objective of the central bank is to have this as zero for own network, own account usage. Now, if a customer wants to go and use a network or an ATM that he does not or she does not bank with, charges, I think it is within reason, the central bank believes it's within reason for charges to apply then.
Yeah.
We understand the Heritage Bank's transfer fees were reportedly drastically reduced even before the start of the new year. With the injunction, Heritage's position is being reviewed. While the standoff between the BSCFA and BSI ASR remains up news time tonight, the miller continues to receive and grind cane. While the factory has the capacity to grind 7,000 tons of cane per day, the fact that the full membership of the BSCFA is not delivering cane is affecting milling, and BSI is currently only on one boiler.
We are just on one boiler, which means we have half the capacity, and we have been getting cane from all three associations, four associations actually. Yesterday we got about 3,500, which was really good. The weather has been good after the pause. We had to pause due to weather conditions over the weekend. The associations are providing jobs to cane cutters. We will have a big issue this year with cane cutters since we have a limited amount of them. and we understand that they really want to start the crop and move forward. No, so we definitely are milling. Our operations are proceeding at this time, and we hope that the associations members are not prevented from delivering their cane. They have a valid commercial agreement since 2021, and they have been delivering.
As it relates to the importation of white sugar, which we are facing a shortage of, BSI ASR's Financial Director Sean Chavarria says the first shipment of refined sugar made it into the country last week.
Sure. On the first question, in terms of domestic stocks, we had highlighted last week, we're running very low on plantation white sugar. We have roughly a week's supply. We have this week had the first shipment of 3 containers of refined sugar that is in the process of being cleared, but we only have a permit for 250 metric tons. And that's why it was important for us to get the crop going, because 250 metric tons is only about a week's supply of white sugar. For brown sugar, we do have enough, and I don't think there's an issue with the supply there, but certainly for white sugar, there is, and therefore that's why it was very important for us to start the crop, so that we can, purge the system, so that we can start making plantation white sugar. On the second point with the throughput fee
And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, January 4th here on Ctv3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.